Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to try out the other 3 new Dharma ice dye colors. If somehow you haven't heard, Dharma released 6 new dye colors which are formulated specifically for ice dyeing. They released 3 of them in September of 2024 and the other 3 in October of 2024. I've already tested out the first 3 dye colors and I have a video for that one. I'll put a link to that video down below this one in the description. My favorite way to see all the cool color splits in these dye colors is to do incline twists. So that's what I'm going to do. And to make it a little bit easier so that I don't get the colors mixed up, I'm going to use 3 different size shirts. I'm using a medium, a large, and an extra large. For the size large and extra large shirts, I'm going to start the twist on the side of the shirt. So I'm going to grab the side of the shirt, not too far down below the armpit of the shirt, and just begin to twist it. I'm placing the shirts inside of a piece of vinyl guttering. And the vinyl guttering, I think it comes in about 10-foot sections from Lowe's. I normally cut mine down, and the sections that you're seeing are 2.5 feet long. These shirts pretty much fill this piece of guttering, but that's okay. I mean, as long as the shirt is fully inside of the guttering, there's not a problem. Once I place the shirt inside of the piece of guttering, I'm going to go ahead and straighten the folds just a little bit. And then to keep the shirt from continuing to slide down the guttering when I incline it, I'm going to place a piece of kite string down around the very end, or what's going to be the top of the shirt when I incline it. And then I'm going to clip that piece of kite string to the end of the guttering. I'm also going to add a wiffle ball down at the very end when I incline the shirt, so the shirt isn't going to slide all the way out of the guttering. Now, because I haven't actually done any tying of this shirt, you'll see me kind of mess with it several times just to straighten up my twist and to make it a little bit tighter. Obviously, the more I twist the shirt, the tighter the twist is and the shorter the fold is. So it'll fit in the guttering a little bit easier if it's twisted pretty tight. Okay, so I'm going to do the other shirt exactly the same way. And then for the last shirt, the size medium, I'm going to twist it just a little bit differently. For this shirt, I tried something different. And before I even started twisting it, I added the kite string to the area of the shirt where I was going to start my twist. Okay, so for the last shirt, I am going to start the twist of this one right at the very end of the sleeve. I've done this before on another shirt. I actually pulled out a shirt that I'd done this to, several years ago, and went to put it on and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I haven't twisted starting at the sleeve for quite a while, so I thought I would do it on this shirt. I'm also going to go ahead and tie the kite string around the sleeve to begin with before I start the twist. That worked pretty well on the last shirt. Okay, so now I'm going to grab some wiffle balls, and these are baseball size wiffle balls. I'm going to place 1 wiffle ball at the end of each of the pieces of vinyl guttering. I'm going to grab a plastic container, and this one is a plastic tote that doesn't have quite as tall a sides. I think the sides of this tote are probably about 6 inches tall. And I'm going to place the size medium shirt. And this is the shirt that I started the twist on the sleeve of the shirt. And this is also a different brand shirt. This shirt is a Port & Company All-American shirt. The other 2 shirts, the size large and extra large, are Gildan Ultra Cotton PFD shirts. So that means that they're prepared for dyeing, which also means that the thread is going to dye. So in a lot of the shirts that you get, including just regular Gildan Ultra Cotton white t-shirts, the thread is made out of polyester, so that part of the shirt will stay white. However, you can usually purchase at like Jiffy Shirts, or I purchase from a wholesaler, and you can get the PFD shirts, which are prepared for dyeing, which means that the cotton thread is what's used when they sew the shirt. So whenever you dye the shirt, not only will the shirt and the fabric dye, but your thread's going to dye as well. To me, it doesn't make a huge difference. I don't care if my thread stays white. On most designs, honestly, I don't even notice it. But I know to some people it really does matter. So that's what you can do instead, is get the Gildan Ultra Cotton PFD shirts. The PFD shirts are also just a little bit more cream in color than just the regular Gildan Ultra Cotton white shirts. So there's just a little bit of difference in the color of the shirt. Not much, but just a little bit. Okay, so the size medium shirt, I went ahead and inclined, added ice to the top, and now I'm adding ice to the top of the other two shirts. For the other two shirts, I'm going to do a little bit more of a severe incline on those. I'm going to use a taller sided tote for each of the shirts, so I'm going to add the ice to the shirt before I place it at an incline. After I incline the shirt, I'm going to go back and touch up the ice just a little bit. I'll fill in some of the blank areas where the ice shifted. Okay, so I'm going to start with the size extra large shirt, and on that shirt, I'm going to place the color Interstellar. I'm going to lightly sprinkle the Interstellar over the top of the ice. And I want to make sure, since these shirts literally fill this entire piece of vinyl guttering, that I get plenty of Interstellar up at the very top. Sometimes when you're doing these incline twists or any kind of an incline dye, if you don't pay attention to the very top of the shirt, the part that's at the top of the incline, and add plenty of ice and dye to that area is going to be a lot lighter than the rest of the shirt. Now, over the top of the dye, I'm going to place a little bit of additional dry soda ash, and then I'm going to place the shirt aside. Okay, so this is the size large shirt, and for this shirt, I'm going to use Dragon's Heart. I'm going to do the same process as I did with the last shirt. And there's kind of a fine line when you add the dye over the top of the ice. I think that I get better color splits when I apply the dye over the top of the ice like this, and I don't use too much dye. That's kind of the fine line, is too much dye and you're not going to see quite as many color splits, but too little dye and it's not going to fully saturate through the shirt and your shirt's not going to look as pretty, in my opinion. So you just kind of have to get the feel for that. Okay, so the last shirt is the one that is the size medium, and for that shirt, I'm going to use Wild Thing. I placed all three of these shirts aside and I allowed the ice to melt. When I do an incline twist like this, I really don't like to add any more ice to the shirt. I just like to allow the colors to split and leave the shirt alone. So I've included some process photos so you can see kind of how the shirt looked as the ice began to melt and what it looked like afterwards. After the ice melted on the Dragon's Heart shirt, I noticed that I had some little blobs of dye left on the shirt. Not big chunks, but little areas where the dye was more intense. I didn't want a lot of spotting on the shirt, so I wanted to see if I could get some of that dye to dissolve. So what I did was I took my soda ash solution that I have inside of a squirt bottle, and I lightly sprayed those areas until I saw the dye start to dissolve and kind of run down the shirt. After all the ice melted, I took these pieces of vinyl guttering and I placed them down inside of a plastic tote. This is a pretty long plastic tote that has a metal rack down in the bottom. I could place all 3 pieces of the vinyl guttering side by side inside of this tote. Then I placed the lid on the tote and just allowed the shirts to process. Having the lid on top of the tote and the shirts down inside will keep them from drying out while they're processing, and it'll also cause a little bit more heat to build up inside of that container where they're going to process at a little bit higher temperature. It started cooling off here now, so I can't put them outside and leave them where it gets nice and warm like I was doing during the summer. I did leave the shirts though for about 48 hours after the ice melted to make sure they had plenty of time to process. So at the time I was making the shirts, I was also making some color swatches for these shirts, and I'll show you what those look like too. To rinse the shirts, I did my normal rinsing process. I started rinsing them in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Since they weren't tied, I didn't have to untie them, but I did take off the piece of kite string from the very end of the shirt, and then warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing in hot water to try to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. I went ahead and rinsed out all 3 shirts the same way, and then I ran some really hot water in my utility sink and I soaked all 3 shirts together. I added the really hot water to my sink along with a little bit of Blue Dawn dish soap. The Blue Dawn dish soap will help keep any of the excess dye that is soaked out of the shirt from rebonding with the shirt or one of the other shirts. Then when the water cooled off, I changed it out and I continued that soaking process until my water was remaining almost clear. Then I put all 3 of the shirts and the color swatches into my washing machine along with some Dharma's professional textile detergent. I washed them using a hot water cycle and then I dried them in the dryer. I've ironed them, and let's see what the shirts and these new colors look like. Okay, so here is Interstellar. I'm going to put the shirts in the same order in which I dyed them. And what do you guys think about this color? I think it's pretty cool. It has shades of purple and blue, pink, and all of the colors are kind of like a smoky look to them, a little bit more of a darker feel. I don't quite know how to describe it. It's maybe stormy would be a good grade in stormy. They're just really pretty colors and color splits in this Interstellar color. I guess space-like is probably the best way to describe it, so I think Interstellar is a perfect name for this color. I've included a photo of my color swatch so you could see what that looked like as well. Okay, so the second shirt that I did was Dragon's Heart. And what do you guys think about this one? This is the one that I had some of the undissolved dye left sitting on top of the shirt after all the ice melted. So I sprayed it with some of the soda ash solution, and I do still have some spots on this shirt. Most of the dye spots that I have are just about level with where I started the twist on the shirt, both on the front and the back. And they're darker shades of green and yellow. But as far as the color goes, I think it's really pretty. It has various shades of green, kind of a little bit more of the lime green coloring in this one. Obviously some yellow and a little bit of that darker, more muted grayish blue color too. I think it's a really pretty color as well. And I think Dragon's Heart is a great name for this one. Okay, so lastly, I did Wild Thing. And I think this is a really pretty color. This color has lots of shades of green, kind of some sagey type colors, a little bit of brown, which is kind of like I would consider it more like a terracotta brown. It's got a little bit of red in the brown, some pinks, just a variety of colors. It's really pretty. And this is the shirt that I started the twist on the very end of the sleeve, which I think looks really cool. I do have a few darker spots on this shirt as well. And I do have a couple of brighter pink areas showing up on the shirt too. This was also the shirt that I did that has polyester thread. So you can see that the thread is showing up white in this shirt, where in the other two shirts, it's dyed the same color as the fabric. Okay, so let's look at all of them together. These are all the colors in the order that I dyed them, going from left to right. And I think they're all really pretty colors. I don't know that I have a favorite in particular between these three colors, but I definitely gravitate toward the Interstellar. I like those kind of darker, more space-like purples and blues and pinks. So I think that color is really cool, but I like the other two colors as well. So I went ahead and added all 6 of the ice-dyed colors that Dharma has released in this video so you can kind of see them all together. And when I see them all together, I think Dharma's done a great job of trying to add a variety of colors into these dyes. You know, they didn't just make all purple dyes for ice dyeing or all greens or blues. They've really, I think, done a great job of trying to add a variety of colors. And I think they're all really cool. Now, all of these are adding the dye over the top of the ice. I've messed with a couple of these by adding the dye under the ice. I just haven't made videos for them yet. So I'm a little curious how all of these are going to operate with, you know, different techniques, because these really cool ice dyes like this do look very different when you use them in different ways. I know when I posted the first batch, the top 3 colors, I had people come back and say that they didn't look anything like the color swatches that Dharma had out on their website. And that doesn't surprise me a whole lot. The way they made the color swatches is they applied the dye over the top of the ice like I did, but they went ahead and allowed it to process in the muck. So that's going to give a little bit different look. Also, I mean, when you have so many colors in the dyes like all 6 of these colors do, just the mix that you have, the amount that you put over the top of the ice, everything can change the way it looks. The type of fabric. I've been in contact with someone at Dharma about the new ice dyes, and they sent me some photos of some trial like test fabrics that they did. And the way the dyes look on cotton is totally different than they look on silk. So, you know, you have to keep those things in mind. They are super cool colors though. If you want some colors that you just never know exactly what you're going to get, but you know you're going to get some really cool color splits, then I think these ice dyes are great to work with. I do know that you can mix them up to use as liquids, and if you look out on Dharma's website, they have the colors that they'll be as liquids, but obviously, I mean, I'm going to use them for ice dyeing. So I really love all these colors. I love the 3 new colors that I tried out, and I love the other 3 colors as well. But what do you guys think? Of the 3 new colors that I tried, do you have a favorite? By now, a lot of you have probably already worked with the first 3 colors, and what do you think about those? I don't know, it's really hard to choose a favorite from all 6 of these colors. I still really like the Alchemist. I just like the teals and the greens mixed in with the purpley blue colors. But the Interstellar's pretty cool too. I really like that one. And the more I look at the kaleidoscope eyes, the cooler I think it is. But what do you guys think? Please drop me some comments down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.